Tomorrow, Square Enix is supposed to have their big TGS press conference or something like that, depending on the way that I can read it. There's no real schedule that has been put out, at least for what I have seen at time of recording for TGS, but the Sony press conference where this could have potentially been announced, Final Fantasy IX Remake was not there. It could be coming around for the Square Enix one. That's, of course, I'm going to be paying attention to that, mostly because I want to see a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth PC port. For the love of God, just announce it. But as hard as they're pushing, their relationship with Sony and the upcoming PS5 Pro, I don't really think that we're going to be seeing a port this year, which makes me very, very, very sad. But the future still looks bright, and even more so with more recent news revelations. But Square Enix has completed a remake for Final Fantasy IX. Yeah, it's been long rumored, for a very, very long time. Hell, there was a fan project that I seen that was out there that was, oh my God, it was so high quality. I think Final Fantasy Union is the YouTube channel. They do a lot of great Final Fantasy content, a lot of great stuff. And they were spotlighting that mod that could never see the light of day. I forget the reason why, but it was a full from the ground up remake. Not a remaster, nothing like that. But everybody thought that that's where, a remake project would eventually go, and that's where it would eventually die. It would end up in the hands of that one individual, and we would never see, outside of just lazy ports, of Final Fantasy IX ever again. Now, when it comes to the trifecta of mainline Final Fantasy games on the original PlayStation, 9, I like it. I like it more than 8, that's for sure. There's some things that I think, a quality remake could definitely do to help this game, because I like most of the story, all the way up to the surprise Necron being the final battle. It's like, it's supposed to be a throwback to the earlier Final Fantasies where you actually fight God. It's like, bro, everything was fine up until that point. Realistically, I started to get a little wobbly on the game. Spoiler, I guess, when you figure out who Zidane actually is. I won't spoil anything further than that, but the music, the characters, what really drives Final Fantasy IX. So yeah, a proper remake, and for what we've been hearing for a while, it's not as extensive as the 7 project, but it's a little bit more in-depth than just the simple upscaling like what Final Fantasy VIII got. Which, if any game needs to be extrapolated, it's definitely 8, because that's a game that I've wanted to love. It's just, I can't, it's so ass. Anyways, ex-user Ryan from the Bronx claims the developers of FF9 Remake was originally Zine. The project moved in-house at Square Enix earlier this year for graphical refinement purposes, and the title looks similar to Memoria Project. Yeah, that's the one. I think that's the one. If it's anything like that, yo, bro, we're in for something tremendous here. Development is complete. The internal delay was not due to the Switch 2 version. Yeah, because even though, the Memoria project, it looks fantastic, it's still not going to be that graphically demanding. It'll be able to play on, PS4, regular Switch, just taking PC for granted, let's be completely honest, okay? Earlier this month, the Scooper claimed that both Final Fantasy IX and Tactics would be receiving a remake, and they would be out next year. Interesting. He claimed that in an unannounced project that Creative Studio 3 is working on Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered. Yoshi P, the head of Creative Studio 3, told Famitsu via translation, we are also working on smaller but still unannounced projects. So yeah, Tactics Remaster, that would be super popular, and same with 9. Like, that's a lot of people's out and out favorite, and same with Tactics. Like, that's some people's favorite Final Fantasy game, full stop. It's one that came out on PlayStation that I never got around to. I don't even know if that might be one of those games that I don't even have a physical copy of. Not that I'm against it, and I had friends that played the hell out of it. It's just never got around to it. Yoshi P added, some people think that we are going to be on the defensive, focusing mainly on our mainstay 14, but Creative Studio 3 will continue to take on challenges. Well, fantastic. You'll love to see it. You got some work to do when it comes to, public perception of Final Fantasy 14, especially after, what was it, Dawn Trail, Dawnbreak, the one with Woke Lamau. You got to fix that. You got to fix that story. Okay, moving along, Yoshi P did indicate that it was time to make another Final Fantasy Tactics game back in April. Or yeah, if you just want to continue to build on the PSP exclusive War of the Lions, like, oh my God, that's another ancient game where, if you're going to be remastering things, like, that's something that I'm actually behind. Like, I think that it's awfully lazy. Most of the time, you get these remake projects, and they're just remaster projects, and they're just so basic bitch. But if you're going to take something off of, old hardware, like the Vita, like the PSP, okay, and transfer them to actual consoles or to PC, that's a worthwhile endeavor. Do that. Do that with War of the Lions. That one's also very well respected. In an interview with The Gamer, Yoshi P first discussed how the Final Fantasy XVI team was inspired by Tactics, and 12. We have a lot of our staff who worked on previous games like Tactics or 12, and you're going to have a lot of that Tactics feel because it's the same people that are on that team. Well, that's good. That's good. Tactics might be on the horizon. We love Tactics as well. It's probably about time we do a new one. And yeah, normally when you see something like that, and especially coming out of anybody affiliated with Square Enix, oh boy, you go, yeah, they kind of have a track record. Yeah, it's kind of not good. Okay, but now we got some good news. And well, going to assuage some of those fears because Sweet Baby Inc. removes Square Enix from its client list on its website. Did Square Enix actually follow through on their promises earlier this year that they're going to be, focusing more on their mainline titles, that they're going to be cutting all the faff, like all of these unnecessary consultancy companies that have been ruining their brand for a long time, that hell, one was so catastrophic it got them out of the Western market to begin with, Black Girl Gamers and for spanking. Anybody remember how that partnership went up in flames? You love to see it. This is the industry healing. Okay, like Capcom is making some headway because Monster Hunter Wilds, A, looks pretty good, but B, the way that they're marketing it, it's interesting. Definitely interesting. A lot of focus on cats, and I understand that cats have been central to Monster Hunter for a very long time. I've been aware of the franchise for a while. I've played a handful of them, but not a lot of it, okay? But really, really focusing on the female characters. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Just saying, they're really leaning into certain marketing, female characters and cats and box wine drops. But it could be good. It could be good. And then you got some of the goofy changes that ultimately didn't come to pass with the Dead Rising, a deluxe remake, which the biggest complaints that people had against that was, yeah, some of the glass breaking doesn't look right, and one of the explosions from the gas station looks a little bit flumpy. But it's like, what about the gameplay, though? Yeah, it's going to be fine. I kind of think that we're seeing, any infiltration into the Japanese market kind of be for naught, but these tendrils do take a time to work their way in, so yeah, just keep an eye out on Capcom, Bandai Namco, and maybe in the short term Square Enix, depending on who is working with what games Sweet Baby Inc. were involved with. We'll see if there's any lingering stench going forth. Video game consultancy company Sweet Baby Inc., whose goal is to push woke ideology into video games. Oh, not just that. Stay tuned. Remove Square Enix from its client list on its website. Yay! Good. Previously, Square Enix was listed in the middle of the second row on the company's list of clients between Ubisoft and Warner Brothers games. Yes. Because we actually got full confirmation of its partnership with Ubisoft, specifically Assassin's Creed Shadows recently, and, well, Warner Brothers games. Does anybody remember a little dud from earlier this year that goes by the name of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? Oh, there you go. That's their work, front and center. Oh, and Rocksteady. Best of luck with that upcoming Batman game, right? Yeah, but there you can see Square Enix, second row, smack dab in the middle. What an impressive list. What an impressive list that they have right there. Until it gets updated and you realize that, oh, there's a name. There's actually a couple of names that are missing off of that list. Square Enix. It's definitely one of them. However, Sweet Baby Inc. has since updated their client list on the website, and Square Enix is no longer on it, along with Square Enix and Neural, a subsidiary of Devolver Digital and the developer of Reigns and Card Shark, is no longer listed as well. No offense to Neural, never heard of you. Heard of Devolver Digital? Man, they used to be like the premier indie company, but I started working with Anita Sarkeesian, and, well, they went tits up. It is unclear why Sweet Baby Inc. removed Square Enix from its client list. However, an investor from Square Enix questioned the company about its relationship with SBI during a recent earnings report. Well, this was back in, like, April or May, so recent is in the eye of the beholder, but perhaps, given their business relationship, they got some internal communications and realized that, oh God, we're in the group of people that are doing business with individuals that intrinsically hate video games, and while Square Enix might be stupid, they don't hate the video game industry. They don't hate them like Sweet Baby Inc. employees hate the video game industry, who admit the goal is burning the games industry to the ground. Well, you succeeded. It's just how your jobs are getting burnt to the ground. Ooh, sucks to suck. A Sweet Baby Inc. employee named Camerin Wild, who claims to be non-binary, admitted that his goal, I did not think that was a dude, it did not at all whatsoever, is burning the games industry to the ground. A presentation titled How to Get Away with Murder, Subverting Genre Expectations at the Game Developers of Color Expo, discovered by YouTuber Kirsch. Oh, okay. Wild introduced himself, saying he is a narrative designer and sensitivity reader with a company called Sweet Baby Inc. Wild, who according to Moby Games worked on Tales of Kenzara Zao, oof, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, oh, Alan Wake 2, ugh, Crew the Motorfest, oh, another bomb for Ubisoft, Kingdom 80s, never heard of that one, and God of War Ragnarok. Are you the idiot that came up with Angry Boda? Then declared, the stories we teach each other are way more than entertainment. Yeah, that's the problem. You ruined escapism because you needed a place to preach your toxic ideology that you can't get away with defending in other forums, so you just simply need to preach. They're how we could create debate and preserve our collective values and beliefs. Yeah, we want to create debate, but we never want to engage in it because we know that we don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to be ideologically sound. We can and should make better, more expansive, more representational content. Now, you should just make good content. That's so difficult because it's so funny, right? Because you're going to try to use Blazing Saddles as an example of how you can subvert a genre, but you'd probably be one of those same people that want to have the classic that recently celebrated, what, a 50-year anniversary? Probably want that taken down, right? And in a slide titled, Cool, so why am I here? One of the bullet points stated, burning the industry to the ground. I can't believe this is actually real. Cool, yeah, so why am I here? We want cooler stories, a safer world. Ooh, you lost me. And burning the games industry to the ground. Oh yeah, and there's Sweet Baby Inc. and a Canva asset on a black background. Okay. Next slide titled, So Why Am I Still Here? One of the bullet points states, to prove that space where whiteness doesn't have to live is where some of the best stories are told. What are you talking about? Wild explained, a lot of us who are really fighting for more inclusive games and storytelling don't have a choice when it comes to discomfort. Really? A lot of us who are just existing don't have a choice. Yeah, I doubt it. Which makes this really hard often. But recently, I started realizing that discomfort, or the place where whiteness doesn't have to live, is where some of the best stories are told, and it's where genre storytelling lives. Can you cite any examples of successful stories, of appreciated stories, where something coming from that perspective actually stands on its own and isn't artificially loved by bots and ideologues? Can you just point to one? You'll go ahead and say that about stupid projects like The Acolyte, and bitch and complain when 6 people turn up to unironically watch the show. You'll say that about games like Flintlock, Tales of Kenzara Zao, Dustborn. You got exactly what you wanted. But here's the thing, the market doesn't want them. Those are where the best stories live. Yeah, we've seen snippets. We've seen those stories told. They're not good stories. We've seen good black stories before. You're not writing them, though. Later in the presentation, Wild explains why Blazing Saddles is his favorite film. Oh, okay. The reason why I love it, beyond some truly Mel Brooksian slapstick humor and fart jokes, Blazing Saddles is extremely aware of social inequity and finds its humor in that darkness, which means I can laugh in a way that is cathartic. It's a movie that isn't making jokes about me, but for me, and I think that's really awesome. Yeah, I don't really think that you had to force your way into a job by pretending to wrap yourself up and saying that you better hire me, or the gets it. I don't think you had to worry about that. I don't think you had to worry about some white woman hanging out of the 3rd story window and going, oh my god, the new employee is up. I don't think that was the case. Man, trust me. Nobody's going to be scared if you pop out from behind the rock and go, where are the white women at? Nobody's going to be worried about that. In one ironic moment, we haven't got through the ironic moment yet? Okay, during the presentation, Wild did share a nugget of truth. Ultimately, if you're telling a story that misses its audience, it doesn't ring true, or fails to cut in the right direction. The problem isn't just, oh, it's insensitive. The problem is it's bad. I mean, yeah, and that's the entirety of the work provided by Sweet Baby Inc. Not one time when they've had substantive input into the narrative of a game have they been successful. Have they been a boon to said project? They got a sliver of relevance with God of War Ragnarok. They had a lion's share of the creative decisions behind Alan Wake 2. Still haven't turned a profit on that game. Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I mean, do we have to go back over that one? Tales of Kenzara Zao, Flintlock. Take a pick. Any other contemporary also in said space. You guys continue to burn the industry to the ground. So I guess mission accomplished? it's just looking like the grift is up, because all of those studios that welcomed you in through the front door, thinking that by listening to all the woke white women that permeate all of the human resources departments, thinking that they're being good allies out there, that would somehow ingratiate themselves to the modern audience, finally woke up and realized that, hey, that whole modern audience, it's a myth. You don't exist. And finally, we're going to have to start to balance the books, and you've become superfluous. So you better start feeling, and you better start becoming accustomed to being actually uncomfortable, because the grift stops here. Last time I checked, the cement sidewalk isn't quite as comfortable as Ubisoft's foyer couches. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.